The past couple of years have not been great to players of The Lord of the Rings Online. The Lord of the Rings Online has been stuck behind multiple paywalls to really truly get to experience the game. It's passed between so many different developers with different goals for the game, and really it's been generally not a great place for a new or returning player to come to. But that has all changed over the last couple of days. Lord of the Rings Online has experienced a revival in popularity, all because of a great event that is happening. And today, we're going to talk about why right now is a great time to return to the Lord of the Rings Online. Hey everyone, I'm Bright Life and I'm so excited to be talking to you about this video. If you like the video, leave it a thumbs up. If you don't, leave me a comment on how I can make it better. And I hope that you subscribe to be a part of our positive community. But let's jump into the video on why Lord of the Rings Online is a great place to be right now. Before we get started, let's talk about over the past couple years why it has not been a great place to be. First of all, the cash shop and expansion locks were abysmal for new or returning players. And for any MMO, you have to be a great place to jump into. There has to be an easy on-ramp to either start or return to that MMO. All of the big five MMOs, the World of Warcrafts, the Final Fantasies, all of those have an incredibly easy catch-up mechanic or jump-in mechanic. A lot of their stuff isn't locked behind multiple levels of paywall, but that's how it was for Lord of the Rings Online for a long time. If you're like someone like me who started Lord of the Rings Online a long time ago, and because you love the IP and you love the world building and just the Tolkien universe in general, you wanted to jump back in, well, it was really hard to do so. Because in order to actually play the Lord of the Rings Online, you had to first log in, play a very, very slow leveling pace because of the penalties for not being a VIP player. And then as soon as you got to level 60 out of the max cap of 130 previously, well, then you were actually unable to progress without buying the expansions and quest packs through the online cash shop. And for new players, they have multiple different options of great MMOs with great IPs around them. You don't want to spend all sorts of money to play a 15-year-old game. All of these expansions being locked behind paywalls and expansions that no one was really playing, well, that made it a hard sell for the average MMORPG fan, even if you're a big fan of the Lord of the Rings universe. You see, here's a truth about MMORPGs. Games that make you pay to experience little bits of expansion material don't make you feel like developers have confidence in the game. Most of the best MMORPGs give you the first bit of the game for free, and they give you a big chunk of it without any sort of penalties. Final Fantasy XIV is an example of this. When you go into Final Fantasy XIV, you're able to play the original base game, A Realm Reborn, and Heavensward, some of the best story that actually exists in the Final Fantasy game, all for free to see if it's a good purchase before you buy. This is how most e-commerce works these days, is there's a free portion and then there's a paid portion. Well, for the Lord of the Rings, its weakest portion was this beginning version, and then you had to pay to get to content that you didn't even know if anybody was really playing. And there were really no catch-up mechanics for those that wanted to boost to max to play the game. There are so many new systems for most of the existing players, and the game really had a low player count. There weren't a lot of people playing, and so there was a niche community, but for the average MMO fan that wants to jump into raids, wants to jump into PvP dungeons, it made you feel as if maybe that content wasn't happening unless you did some real research on which server to join and all of those kinds of things. Well, all of that has changed with the 15th anniversary update. The content now has become completely accessible, and I really do think that Standing Stone Studios has done an incredible job of listening to player feedback, listening to new player feedback, and implementing some things to make their game viable again. Let's talk about the 15th anniversary update. There are rewards now for simply logging in. There's great big events happening in-game, but to welcome people back, there is intentional content put into the game to excite people who are coming back. Through Helm's Deep, expansions have been made completely free. You can level all the way up to level 95 with no penalties at all through the Helm's Deep expansion. For people that love Lord of the Rings, they can go through the Rohan expansion. They can experience the Trials of Angmar. They can walk through incredible places like Lothlorien, like Moria, places that they've dreamed of being since they were little kids, and they can walk through and experience these all for free, allowing you to truly play the game. And not only that, all of the expansions up until the most recent one are unlockable with a simple $15 a month subscription fee, which is what you'll pay for some other MMOs to access their premium features. There are also great in-game items for anybody logging on right now, like a chestnut corgi pet, which is incredible. A new horse, the Steed of Starlight. You get collector's editions of the 3 expansions the Mordor expansion, Minas Morgul expansion, War of Three Peaks if you're a VIP. You get the Gift of the Valar, which allows you to instantly level up to level 105. You get a celebration box. There are so many great things that you get for logging in right now, but the biggest and most important thing above all of the items that exist is the fact that you can play through the game to a point where you can truly get to experience it before you spend any money, and you can do it all without penalties. And I think that Standing Stone Studios has done a fantastic job of advertising this, letting people know about this, because for returning players like myself, people who played this game 12, 13 years ago, we want to come back and experience the game in a real and full way without any sort of penalty. We want to be able to experience this game, and then we'll be much more likely to spend money on the game, just like I do now. Now, for the second portion, this is an old game with the same vibes. You know, the graphics may not be as intense. Maybe some of the soundtrack and the sound effects are a little dated, but there is nothing like the way Lord of the Rings has built their world. It is an incredible place to explore. Getting to explore like these fantasy lands like the Shire, like Helm's Deep, like Rohan, even walking through Bree can be such an exciting thing for fans of the Lord of the Rings series. And if you haven't taken a look at the Lord of the Rings online yet, and you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings IP, Tolkien's work, this is a great place to be. This is an awesome place to experience and explore, be able to come in with your friends, do fun dungeons, meet great characters like Gandalf, Aragorn, Tom Bombadil, people like that that really immerse you in the game. And it's one of the biggest strengths of the Lord of the Rings online series is that you're coming into this series with such an excitement about the lore that has existed before. That for those of us that have read the books, maybe watched the movies, we can walk into this expansion from level 1 going, I'm so excited to see Middle-earth in all of its glory, and it's a great place to do it, especially now that a lot of the content has been removed from the cash shop. It's been removed from the time gating. It's a great time to come into the game. And third and most importantly, this is the most important thing when it comes to an MMO in my opinion, is because MMOs are all about the players, is the game is full of players again. On April 21st, Lord of the Rings Online broke 3,700 concurrent players, which is a 10-year record. And the record high was only 3,900 players, and this is when it was at its max, when it was the second largest MMO in the world at that point. And so the game is full again. And I can tell you through experience in streaming this game, in my walkthrough, you can see tons of new players starting this game. There are so many new characters being created. And as I was interacting with people in the game, you're talking to people that have said, I've never played the game before, but I heard about the 15th anniversary, so I'm so excited to try it out. Friends, this is a great time to jump into the IP. And just to give you some context for how big those numbers are, for another great lore-based game, Star Wars: The Old Republic, which is a very thriving game right now. It's in the top 5 MMOs that are out there in the Western area. Star Wars: The Old Republic had an average of 7,800 players on today, and where Lord of the Rings Online now is sitting at around half that at 3,700 players, which is really, really good for an MMO. It means that you can find dungeons to go to, you can find raids to join, you can play in player versus player environments, and there are people to play with. This is an awesome time to be a Lord of the Rings Online fan. And if you've never checked it out before, or if you've been away from the Lord of the Rings Online for a long time, this is a fantastic time to get back into the game, because there is just something about this world. The 15th year anniversary that is out is so good, and the game is just full again. It feels like an MMO again. It's a great place to come, bring some friends, and party up with them. If you are gonna jump back into play, come play on Arkenstone with me. I stream on Twitch almost every day, Lord of the Rings Online right now in this month. I'd love for you to come join us, Bright Life Community on Twitch, and come join me on Arkenstone. Come quest with me, come enjoy the fellowship with me, maybe come kill some monster players with me in PvMP. It's an awesome time to be a part of it, and I hope I get to see you in Middle-earth. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like. It's totally free to do. Subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, I'm live on Twitch over at twitch.tv/brightlifecommunity. We're a community of positive and uplifting gamers. Come find a friend to raid with, grab loot with, and just enjoy life together with. Hope you have an awesome day. Be blessed, and you are so loved and so valuable.